morning, beloved. Today in our first reading we have just a short passage from the prophet Nahum, a very short oracle or short prophecy, very short book. You could read it today. It's just 3 chapters. And Nahum is actually happy to announce the 2 things. We see the summary really of this passage today. The first half is about the good news of victory over the enemies of Israel, or over Nineveh, and then the good news of restoration then for Israel. So this is the context, is this is taking place right in the middle of the exile. The 10 northern tribes are exiled, conquered, they're pulled out into other nations, but the southern tribes are still there. Judah is still there. That's why he's specifically speaking about the restoration of Judah. Celebrate your feasts, O Judah, fulfill your vows. So the southern tribes are still there, and basically what happened is Nineveh or Assyria had came down from the north and began conquering Israel, and they didn't conquer the southern 2 tribes, but they've been just antagonizing and harassing them, and right, and poking at them, getting ready to, and so they've been driving them crazy. So first we see the promise of victory, that God's going to destroy Nineveh, and then bring back and restore Israel. So that is really a summary of good news. That's what the good news means. We see that fuller picture in the Old Testament, good news, the word basar, rather than in the New Testament with evangelium. They both mean victory, so there's a victory. The good news is a victory over something. But especially in the Old Testament, we see the second half of that, not just victory over something, but now restoration, bringing back what was destroyed. And so that's the good news for us. We would transfer that. The good news of Jesus Christ is victory over sin and death, our eternal enemies, right? Jesus conquered sin by living his whole life without sinning, even unto death. So he conquered sin, he never sinned, and then he conquered death, we know, in the resurrection from the dead. And the good news there is that we're continuing to pass on. Remember, it's not just that Jesus did it, that he wants to continue to do this in each one of us. So that's why we were baptized into Christ, so Christ lives within us, so that he can conquer sin in our life too. So our love will grow so strong that we would rather die than sin, like Jesus. And then, when our love gets that strong and that perfect, then, even when we die, we have the promise of resurrection, and the pledge of that promise given to us already, the Holy Spirit of God living and dwelling within us, empowering us to conquer sin, to be holy even unto death, like Jesus. And then when we do die, these bodies do die, resurrected life. So Jesus wants to continue to conquer sin and death, not just in his life, but in your life, in my life, today. And so that is the good news, and that is the Christian way of life. That is why the Christian way of life is a lifestyle. And we see the heart of that lifestyle in the gospel Jesus talks about today. If you want to follow me, if you want to be my disciple, you must deny yourself. Number 1, first way of beginning to conquer sin in your own life. Deny yourself. Deny your reliance on yourself. Instead, you have to rely on God. Deny yourself. It's really specifically speaking about the flesh. Remember, we've talked about 3 enemies sometimes we're always wrestling with: the world, the flesh, and the devil. So today, deny yourself. Deny your flesh, your disordered desires, your disordered passions, your disordered instincts. Like we said, when we're driving down the freeway and somebody cuts us off and you want to do something, flip the bird or whatever. Yeah, that's one easy example. Deny yourself in that moment and say a prayer for them instead, right? So we've talked about that. But those, we attempted we have plenty of opportunity to deny ourselves every day. Every day. And it's just good to remember this is a lifestyle that Jesus is developing within us. It's a lifestyle, something that has to begin to become our normal way of living the Christian life. At first, it's really hard. At first, things just happen, You might say, how do I stop cussing? How do I stop doing this? How do I stop doing that? It's almost like an instinct. It just happens, But you do make these small steps. these small steps, and bookend everything with prayer. Before is prayer, after is prayer, and then even during a situation is prayer. And slowly we grow in consciousness to deny ourselves, to deny the fleshly instincts, and instead to have a holy reaction like Jesus. All right, that's enough for today.